Crossing Border 2013 vanuit Den Haag. Ik heb hier een mooi hoekje en ik heb een aantal bands die ik 5 vragen ga voorleggen over muziek en tekst en vooral ook de combinatie daarvan.
When you're 3 sheets to the wind, it's best to move slowly. Forgiving yourself your sins, a part of the process. The boy with the bloodshot eyes and legend in your...
We're at the Crossing Border Festival. In what way is your music crossing borders?
Well, I guess our music went further than I ever had physically in the world before I did. And when we first released our EP on MySpace, or released songs on MySpace, we had fans or people responding that were from Russia, and we were just in Russia, and I met those girls finally
from
back then who are still dedicated to what we do, which is really amazing. And
ik denk wel dat wij dat doen, maar wij doen dat op een intuïtieve wijze. Ik denk dat alle goede muziek grensoverschrijdend is, maar het best op een manier dat je er niet te bewust mee bezig bent, want dan kan het al eens artificieel of gemaniereerd worden. We zijn 6 individuen, ik ben zowat de locomotief, maar de rest is ook belangrijk. En iedereen heeft zijn inbreng, heeft zijn culturele referentiekader.
I don't know really, but we've suddenly got quite big in South America, so that seems like a good thing. Like our first single off the new album, it became like a radio hit in South America. It's not.
Did you go there?
No, we've never been there. For some reason, it's like captured their imagination. I don't know why. Maybe it's the video or something, but it's not a hit in the UK. But in Peru, we're huge. Yeah,
Which is kind of cool.
I suppose tonight in a very literal way, and a lot of the stuff I do tonight and stuff I played tonight, I haven't played outside the UK before because I play a set that is mostly exclusively live songs, so I was slightly concerned about how it would translate. The language and the accent even isn't a problem. It's probably the Netherlands, and I'm doing Antwerp tomorrow as well. So as well. So it's certainly crossed the literal border in that sense, and I'm sure there are many emotional borders I skirted over constantly during the gig as well.
What comes first when you create your music? Is it the lyrics or the music first?
music.
Yeah?
Yeah, definitely. And I'd like to experiment with actually having something written and turning that into a song or melody.
Yeah.
But usually, for me, the words kind of erupt out of a nonsensical kind of melody that seems to stick.
Okay.
And then through that melody, I kind of decipher what the actual specific message is.
Ik verzamel doorheen de tijd gewoon continu eigenlijk stukjes tekst en stukjes muziek. En ik voel wel snel als een stukje muziek of een zin de moeite is om dus dat kan soms, sommige nummers op de nieuwe plaat zijn gebaseerd op ideeën van 2 jaar terug of zo. Op een bepaald moment baken ik dat aan en zeg ik van dat zijn de dingen waar we mee gaan werken. Eigenlijk ben ik gewoon altijd aan het schrijven. Ik heb ook al jaren geen vakantie genomen, so ik kan dat gewoon niet stopzetten.
It's always the music first. I kind of always know what the songs are going to be about, but I always, without fail, will be writing the lyrics like a bad schoolgirl the night before going into the studio.
It's the last thing you do.
The very last, kind of a whole night writing lyrics before, yeah. So I know how I want the lyrics to sound, and I know. I mean, that's the interesting thing about, I suppose, speaking Welsh as well, is you start to kind of, the language becomes an instrument in itself, and so I kind of know what everything's gonna be like, but leave it until the last minute until it's penned properly.
A song to me starts with a phrase or it will always start with a good way to say one thing. And I think a song sort of comes from that, you know. I usually write songs to a melody in my mind, but then when they eventually become a song, the melody gets scrapped or so. And it depends who I'm working with, of course. I work with different people. The guy I work with most now in songwriting, Bill Wells, all the songs I write with him, I write them down, I have a melody in mind, then that's completely ignored by the time we get to the studio.
Always music with me, just because I just sit there with a guitar and just strum and kind of get lost in it, and occasionally some kind of moment of inspiration comes, and yeah, it always goes from that. So you get a kind of musical idea and maybe a melody as well. And I usually get maybe like a few lines that seem to come out of nowhere really, and I don't always know what they're about to start with, but then it kind of dictates, there's the momentum kind of to the song, and then I spend like sometimes like 3 years finishing the lyrics. I've just finished one today in the van on the way here. I finished a song that I've been writing for 3 years. I wrote the last line of the song and it's like, yes.
Question is it finished?
It is.
But it's really finished?
Yeah, it's definitely finished.
Okay.
Actually, ask me tomorrow.
I will.
An orchestrated pairing of friends, one bearing up, the other sober for a change, laying low and acting strange. She wiggles by to catch an eye, he gets her name wrong, says goodbye.
Have you ever had a so-called writer's block in which you just couldn't get it done?
Yeah, that happens. I think that we encounter that sometimes as a band. We have a song called Jubilee that has had probably 5 different endings.
Okay.
Because we can't decide on which way we want it to go as a band.
I'm not a full-on sort of writer. I don't wake up in the morning and have to do it. I have other things to occupy my time. So I think no, I just do it when it comes. You know, I don't sit at home and I don't try and think about making it happen. I just wait till it happens, which is quite infuriating for my family because I should be out making money, I suppose.
No, I just drink lots of coffee and lock myself in a room.
Okay.
Last time I had, we were staying in a sublet in Echo Park, and for some reason she had a massive whiteboard on the wall. So I was up all night like a lunatic drinking coffee, writing on, which was great. It was, I'm going to get myself a whiteboard, I think, yeah.
Yeah, you know, if something doesn't work out, it kind of just move on, you know, because we have a lot of ideas.
That's nice.
Yeah.
All the time. Like, I kind of go through phases where I'll go for 3 months without writing anything that I think is good, and I'll panic and think, well, I've lost it. And then it always happens, like the moment I start getting really depressed about it, I suddenly write loads of songs. I started writing in my 30s, like stuff that I thought was good. So hopefully I've got another 10 years maybe, but realistically you can't, there's very few people, maybe Tom Waits is the only person I can think of who's still like creative and like really making great stuff. How
bad is it for a song to have shitty lyrics when the song itself and the music is so damn cool? Sometimes you hear a song, is it bad?
Yeah, I think it's pretty bad. I mean, that happens a lot, in my opinion, in rap music. I love listening to rap music and I love listening to hip hop, and I think oftentimes I'm let down by the lyrical content. And if it's a good enough groove, I just overlook it. And if someone's genuine, they're saying what they mean, then it can be said in any number of ways. I love complex, abstract poetry, and I love very direct poetry.
Wel, hypothetisch zeker wel, maar ik heb dat eigenlijk nog nooit meegemaakt. De muziek die mij aanspreekt, muzikaal, blijkt altijd interessant te zijn textueel.
Okay.
Maar dat wil niet zeggen dat elke goede tekst grote poëzie moet zijn. Maar zelfs de meest eenvoudige of zelfs een beetje cheesy tekst, als die op een bepaalde manier wordt gebracht, dan krijgt dat toch terug betekenis. En daar zijn heel veel voorbeelden van. Omgekeerd is er zeker muziek die textueel veel inhoud heeft, maar die mij muzikaal totaal niet kan bekoren. Dat heb ik wel.
Maar dan hou je wel op met luisteren.
Ja.
This is why it's great to listen to foreign music, you know, like when you're listening to, Turkish music or whatever, it's great because you don't have that worry, you know, you can just listen without knowing what's being said.
I hate it. That is one of my pet hates. So I mean, you can have songs that have got kind of lyrics that you don't really know what they mean, but as long as they sound interesting, it's cool. But if you hear a song and it's got inane lyrics which don't mean anything, then you just think,
My favourite lyrics ever would possibly be classed as shitty lyrics. You know, kung fu fighting.
Yeah.
You know the first.
Everybody was kung fu.
Yeah,
fighting.
the first 4 lines of kung fu fighting are fantastic, and they're perfect for what they are. You know, there are some terrible lyrics, but it depends what you expect. However, if you're trying to do something clever and the wrong kind of music, it shows very quickly, I think. So, you know, I suppose, like everything, the right balance is what counts.
Is there one line or a particular piece of lyrics in one of your songs that you are proud of or particularly fond of to sing?
Yeah. No, my first thought is the last song on our album. It's called Sun. I really like the lyrics of that, and I mean, I can't remember. Well, there's a specific part where I guess I'll just say it goes, 100 times I arrived, followed around again to win. And it's sort of like it's a conversation about the conflict between needing to discover my own life and then also having my son.
I don't know, I don't think I can answer that. No? I don't think I could answer that. Probably for different reasons, you know, there's a lot of the new record is about it's a lot about relationships and relationships within family, and I think there's some lines where I think I've done justice to people, you know, but but I wouldn't, I wouldn't be so bold as to, you know.
Do you change your lyrics? Do they still evolve when you're playing?
Yeah, because I can't remember them, so I just have to make them up on the hawk, you know.
Rewrite them every evening.
There's another bit after that says, "You can rest in finding that your roses will grow older. You can see the reason why the story is not over." It's like, go on, go ahead. You're in your garden, and you can rest in finding that all of this will bloom and blossom and grow older and come
die
to
and
fruition
start over
and then
again.
die and start over again. And it's just a natural process of life. And you just have to follow that, no matter what the circumstances, you know. And if you do that, then you're setting a good example for yourself and your children and the rest of the world, you know.
Ja, er zijn wel dingen. Ik heb wel in ieder geval een oordeel over mijn eigen teksten. Ik vind sommige niet zo goed en sommige wel beter. En ik ben... Dus het is direct het eerste waaraan ik denk, dus het zal wel kloppen. Er is één tekst op de laatste plaat, Lucille heet dat nummer. En ik ben heel tevreden met die tekst. Enerzijds vertel ik over een heel korte liefdesgeschiedenis uit mijn privéleven met dat meisje. Ja. En anderzijds gebruik ik beelden en metaforen die komen uit een reportage die ik had gezien over de migrantenproblematiek en mensen die proberen in slechte omstandigheden, een heel actueel thema, de zee over te steken op zoek naar. En ik heb die twee dingen in elkaar verweven en ik vind dat heel geslaagd is.
There's a song called We Were Wasted that was off our first album actually, and it's about a night out in my hometown of Burton-on-Trent. And it's not a very poetic scene. It's basically like people being pissed and violent and like getting off with each other and like just a Saturday night. And it's very brief, but it's like very simple words, small sentences, but lots of people have come up to me and said it kind of encapsulates that feeling.
You nailed it. Yeah.
So I think if you don't need to use big words, and you shouldn't use big words if small words will do, it's just get that feeling and get it into a condensed area, and if it translates that emotion, then that's good.
No, yes and no. I'm not very proud of it, but the opening line to Arab Strap's second album, Philophobia, which starts with "It was the biggest cock you've ever seen," seems to resonate with people. And at the time we knew it was funny. I was quite embarrassed about it for years, but then you get older and you think, actually, no, that was quite funny.
It's funny and quite a blunt way to start a record.
Well, exactly. You know, that's it, and you know, it makes you want to hear the next line, and that's the best thing you can hope for when you start a record. You want everyone to hear the next line.